Hey everyone, I'm excited about today's episode. We have Phoenix, Arizona's #1 DUI attorney. He'll be answering questions Q&A on why to have a lawyer, what sets his firm apart, DUI, serious tickets. I'm bringing you the top attorneys in each city. So always tune in if you get a DUI. Always seek legal help with that. Remember, speedstar.com for all speeding tickets. Every speeding ticket should be challenged. Now let's get on with this episode. Here we are, Sean Susi with the speedstar.com. I got Aaron Black on the line. One of the top-rated lawyers in Phoenix, Arizona, my home state, his home state as well. His family has a long history in the Valley for legal representation. But Aaron, without further to-dos, introduce yourself, introduce the firm, tell us what you're all about.
Yeah, my name's Aaron Black, Law Office of Aaron M. Black, PLLC. I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I also do a lot of DUI cases. It's me, it's only me, there's no staff. When someone calls my office, I answer.
You're the one. There's no paralegals.
No.
It's a direct shot.
A lot of these firms think they're big time and they have to have a staff to help people out. And no, I do everything myself. Everything falls on my shoulders. I know what's coming into my office. I know what's going out of my office. So there's no gatekeeper to get to this. It's just me, and I handle everything. Mostly because I don't trust anyone else to do my work.
And the gatekeeper is a real thing. And Phoenix is flooded with so many lawyers that you're right. There's a gatekeeper. And to get that lawyer, and you might get a call back a week later, maybe a month later, who knows? So you've been rated. It's rated by super lawyers. AV preeminent rated, the Martindale Hubble. Top 100 trial lawyers, top Valley DUI lawyer, top 1% of the finest lawyers in the nation.
Yeah, pretty proud of that. There's also 3 best rated that you can see online. There's expertise.com has one of the top 20 lawyers in Phoenix for DUI defense. But super lawyers is a really big one. I started as a rising star there and then moved through and been a super lawyer the last, 7-8 years.
And how long has your family been in the Valley?
At least 36 years. My dad's a criminal defense attorney here also. I went to elementary school. Went to high school here.
Brophy.
That's right, Brophy Prep.
That's right.
1999.
That was right down the street from you, Phoenix Christian. We weren't competitors, but we knew each other. All right, so you handle DUIs, criminal law. Talk about less well-known about representation. I mean, what have you seen with that?
With new lawyers, sometimes you just want to hang a shingle. People who can't get a job, they dip their toes into the DUI world, and they don't know what they're doing. There's so many intricacies when it comes to the administrative suspension, your license suspension, alcohol screening, alcohol classes, reinstatement fees, getting your license back, and then just the simple sentencing and handling these cases. There are so many intricacies in DUIs that just a lawyer who handles a DUI every once in a while will not. And then if you go to trial, you got to know what you're doing. You have to know the science. You have to know the signs and symptoms of impairment. You have to know how to cross-examine these experts who are going to testify and these highly trained DUI officers. Because every city in the greater Phoenix area, so Tempe, Gilbert, Scottsdale, Chandler, they have police officers who are hired to only arrest people for DUI. That's all they do and nothing else. And just like I know how to defend a case, they know how to arrest someone and prosecute them and get a conviction.
So it's pretty involved. They better know what they're doing. Right.
Yes.
And have the experience. Now, here's another big thing is how important is it to go with someone locally who has dealt with the prosecution, who knows that courtroom, who knows the prosecutor, the judge, and is familiar with the logistics of the court?
Yeah, and that's actually very interesting because I used to be a Maricopa County public defender for almost 5 years in the particular crimes unit. And when I worked in that court system, all I was doing was felonies and nothing else. And when I went into private practice, you soon learn that each city has their own court They have their own quirks, their own prosecutors, and each court is very different. And each judge wants to do something different. Each prosecutor handles the case different. And so I go all over the place handling these cases, and I'm very familiar with all of them now. This probably isn't like the old days where if you know a prosecutor and a judge, you get a deal. It doesn't work like that anymore by any means. But where it helps is you know how to get through the system much easier. You know what kind of arguments work for what judges, what kind of arguments work for what prosecutors when you're trying to get a deal. And
Right.
that's where experience comes in.
Exactly. So that was 5 years. Was that getting out of college? And then 5 years at the Maricopa County. Then
Yeah, college, then law school. After law school, I went to Maricopa County in the vehicular crimes unit, prosecuting manslaughters, felony DUIs, aggravated assaults, and then white collar offenses. I did everything, but I was in the vehicular crimes unit doing mostly aggravated felony DUIs and felonies committed with vehicles.
Phoenix is a big, big valley. Are you hitting all the suburbs? I know we got Phoenix, which you're based out of. You're right downtown, but are we talking Glendale, Surprise, Scottsdale, Cave Creek?
All of them.
You're all over the valley.
All over the courts. I go to all those courts. There are days where I'll put 100, 120 miles on my car going from Surprise back out to Gilbert to the city of Phoenix and then maybe finishing my day off in Mesa. So when I have to be in four courts, sometimes I could be all over the place.
Yeah, that is some driving. I'm
And again,
familiar with that.
I'm the one who goes there and does all of that. I don't send associates out there. I don't hire other attorneys to cover my busy work. I do it all. And that is so I can have those interactions with the judges. I can have those interactions with the prosecutors and get that face-to-face time.
That is huge. Because,
Yes.
in essence, if you were to send someone else, they really don't know what's going on.
No.
You've talked with the client, you know where they're at, and you stay on board the whole time. That's huge.
And then it's like a game of telephone. So they tell this person I have handling my work something, and I might not get the full story from that person who was covering for me. When I go there, I know exactly what was said, how it was said, the tone. I know everything. And from there, I can make the best decisions as to what kind of negotiation we do or if we should potentially go to trial.
Here's a huge question I have to, and this is kind of why I've started this whole company. It was based off this one interaction I had. I saw someone in court crying. He was probably 22 years old. It was a DUI charge. He just pleaded guilty. The judge said, "Are you making this on your own behalf?" He just didn't know what to do. His only way of getting through it was, maybe I'll just say guilty and they'll have mercy on me and I'll put it behind me. What do you recommend for that? For the person that has no idea what's going on and they have a DUI?
One, you always need a lawyer. And two, we're expensive. I get it. And if you can't afford a lawyer, you have a right to a public defender who are great lawyers. I was a public defender for years. They know exactly what they're doing. We went to the same law schools. We took the same tests to become lawyers. They know way more than someone who just goes to court and pleads guilty. The other issue with just pleading guilty is that you haven't reviewed any of the discovery. You haven't watched the video. And what I tell people when I give them an honest assessment, say, there might not be much I can do for you. And they say, well, why would I hire you then? Why don't I just go plead guilty? I say, because people hire me to go through the reports, to go through the videos, to find the issues with the case. And if I can find those issues, to then take that and negotiate with the prosecutor and ask for a better deal, or potentially we go to trial. So people are paying me to review the case to make sure their constitutional rights weren't violated, which if they just plead guilty, they'll never know. And not only with DUIs do you have to look at the constitutional rights aspect of it, then you have to get into the science of the blood work and the breath work, and if the instrumentation was working properly, and maybe even what our own scientists can testify to. So, like I was saying, how a lot of these police officers in all these cities are highly trained. Listen, if they did their job right, they dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and this person's guilty, there might be very little that I can do for someone, except to make sure that their rights weren't violated. And then on top of that, though, I'm able to walk them through this DUI process. I will be able to go to court for them, which that's hours of their time that they won't have to appear in court. I'll be able to negotiate the final deal, make sure it is one that is fair. And also, we have to deal with alcohol screening, alcohol classes, maybe mothers against drunk driving classes. These are all things that need to be done for the motor vehicle department. Because if someone doesn't know, if they just go to court and plead guilty for a DUI and their license hasn't been suspended yet, that's an issue. Because now MVD is going to suspend them anyway for the DUI. And in addition, they're going to have to get SR22 insurance for 3 years. So you can put yourself in a bad financial spot if you just go to court and plead guilty without going through the proper process.
I think that's what he didn't understand. He looked very confused, and he didn't understand that by pleading guilty, it's kind of like the next 10 years of your life, you'll have this on your record.
You always need a lawyer. And if you can't afford one, you have to use the public defender. That is what they're there for. And they are very knowledgeable, especially in those particular courts, because they're in that court every day with that judge and that prosecutor.
So I guess the main thing for the viewers, what sets your firm apart? I mean, besides being the guy they get on the phone, besides showing up, I mean, besides having all that history, I mean, you have a lot of experience. The resume speaks for itself. But other than that, I mean, is there a compassion? Is there something else you wanted to say that just really sets your firm apart?
I don't know if a lot of clients would see the compassion in me sometimes. And often it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
It's because I tell them the truth.
That's huge.
I had pretty intense conversation with a client just last week. You never tell me good news. And you know what? That's the hard part about it being a lawyer, but that's what being a good lawyer is telling the person the truth. No one's going to call me up and say, oh, they used hand sanitizer when they drew your blood? Oh, that's going to contaminate it. That's a not guilty. Yes, we got it. You're not going to hear that BS from me. That doesn't do anything. Oh, it's a sales pitch that you're going to get from some firms. I don't do that. When I talk with someone, I'm going to tell them, worst case scenario, maybe what best case scenario could be if we find these issues. And, that's really it. I can't, in a consultation, give someone chances of being found not guilty or getting their case dismissed. It's not ethical, number one. Number two, I don't know what a judge is going to do. I don't know what a jury is going to do every time. Also, there is a statute on the books that says prosecutors just can't dismiss DUIs because you're a good person and never been in trouble before. We got to be ready to fight these. It's a serious offense in the misdemeanor courts. And it's serious because it's a big moneymaker. It's where you can get the most jail time. I mean, a second time super extreme DUI over a .20, the minimum sentence is the maximum sentence that someone can get by a law, which is 6 months. And over $4,000 in fines. The prosecutors aren't just going to dismiss when it's bringing in that much money.
And you said it right. This is a huge moneymaker. They take it very seriously.
Well, the police departments have their own specialized DUI squads.
There you go.
So they have DUI officers who are out patrolling the streets just looking for minor traffic violations. Perfect example. If someone is making a right-hand turn in the middle of the day and they make a wide turn into the second lane, no officer is ever going to pull them over.
Right.
But at night, after the bars close, if you make that same wide turn, you're getting pulled over and they're going to investigate for a DUI.
Right.
So it's just little things like that. And that's what these officers are looking for. You get arrested. These officers know how to draw blood. They're trained to do that. They're trained to look for certain signs and symptoms. And they put this all together in a report. And lately, in most jurisdictions, everything's being videotaped now too. These officers know what they're doing. They know that they're being taped, and They're going to do everything they can the right way, and I got to find out where they messed up.
Get a public defender, get someone. Just by saying guilty, there's no 50-50 chance. There's no looking at the discovery. There's no chance to see what really went on, right?
That's absolutely right. I wasn't going to talk about all cases, but I mean, just a perfect example. I had a client with a 0.156 blood alcohol level. That's an extreme DUI. If he would have just walked into court and said, I'm guilty, he'd have an extreme DUI on his record, which would be more fines, more jail, more interlock. With the science, when you just talk about plus or minus 10% scientific error rates, that 156 could be below that, which would be a regular DUI. So we were able to negotiate a regular DUI, which saved him thousands of dollars, 6 months with the interlock, and 30 days in jail went down to 1 day in jail. So there are things like that that you have to do.
Huge difference.
Yep.
Huge difference in how that affected his life. Always get legal representation. And I think you just said it. Pretty much for everything. Or at least consult with the lawyer.
You have to.
You have to. Thanks for your time. Like I said, guys, #1 lawyer in Phoenix. He's been on Channel 15 discussing cases. This guy knows what he's doing. His family's been around the valley for a long time. He's the go-to. He's on many sites. Google him. He'll be the first to pop up. Unless you have anything else to add.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Give me a call. I'll answer. If I don't, I'll text you or call you right back.
And he will. Aaron Black, everybody. Thanks, Aaron.
Take care. Thank you.